And showtime, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup, a look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in 5 minutes or thereabouts. My name is Rich Freeman. I am executive editor of the ChannelPro Network, one of your hosts on this show as well. I am joined this and every week by your other co-host, Eric Simpson, a business transformation and improvement advisor for MSPs and other IT providers. Eric, how you doing?
Doing good, Rich. Doing good this week. Just, riding the roller coaster, as are we all, as we get closer to Election Day.
Indeed, indeed, because we all needed more excitement and uncertainty in our lives, and thank goodness the election cycle is coming through for us.
Yes, everyone needs to remember to vote.
This is for certain. Yep, absolutely, folks. Cast your vote. Well, let's dive into our story of the week here, Eric, and it concerns a topic that is discussed a whole lot, obviously, these days, which is working from home. Vast majority of people out there who are fortunate enough to be employed, and thankfully that includes the two of us, they are doing their work from home these days. And I got a number of different studies just this week as it happened about work from home and the attitude of people who are doing it. And it's a little bit all over the map here. I thought it was kind of interesting. So here's a study that was done by an organization called OnePoll on behalf of the Paper and Packaging Board, and who knew there was a paper and packaging board, but they went out and surveyed people on working from home. 60% of the people they spoke to said that they are less productive since they have started working from home. Boomi, the Dell business that does cloud integration, they did a study. 58% of employees feel more isolated and disconnected from work and their teams since they work from home. They specifically asked a bunch of C-level people about this topic. C-suite respondents noted that remote work is affecting their ability to innovate and be creative. 60% of them said that they're having trouble innovating and being creative because they're working alone. And then along comes a study from a security vendor called Netscope. And they went out, and 92% of the people they spoke to said that COVID-related work from home has been a positive or at least status quo experience overall. And 75% of them said they would take advantage of permanent work from home opportunities if they were allowed to do that. 41% of the people in the Netscope study said that collaborating has actually been easier for them since they started working from home. 36% said it has been harder. And I mean, I could cite more statistics basically that would sort of point in the same direction. There are a lot of people basically who want to continue working from home, even when it's, they feel like it's safe to go back from the office. A lot of people feel like I'm being productive. I want to be able to continue working this way. And yet I also hear, and this is more anecdotal than anything else, but I hear from plenty of people that I miss the water cooler interaction. I miss the face-to-face meetings that, we're of two minds, I would say, collectively, we in this country right now, about work from home 6-7 months into the coronavirus era.
Yeah, it's very interesting, Rich. And can you also pull out a couple of those stats in those findings about what the work from home folks have done to improve their ability to work from home? I was really interested in what they're like, buying desks and buying standing desks. Can you touch on that for a second as well? Because I think I think that's a key thing as well here.
You know what? I don't have that data point right at my fingertips right now, but if I remember, it was a shocking percentage of people who have actually purchased a desk.
Right. And it was like 60+% of folks have improved their work from home, and even standing desks. It's funny. I myself had just ordered a standing desk because, it's one of those things. And I think for folks that are, I think I'm going to speak for myself, right? And I'm going to kind of project. I think for me, working in teams and collaborating in teams and things like that, I think that type of work is easier to feel pumped up about and to feel satisfied with wherever you're working, as long as there's good collaboration tools. And Zoom is like, I'm on a lot of different calls. And when I'm working with teams and they're scheduled calls and we're all working together to a common goal, I think it's easier to keep each other motivated and on point and accountable. But then there are the other activities that I do that require me to be more of a, a self-starter and a self-initiator. And it's in those activities that I think working from home, I struggle a little bit more with, getting myself up and ripping myself up to get that stuff done, or I'm more easily distracted, during the day when I'm focusing on things like that, because, let's be candid. I mean, there's always something new and interesting to interact with or be distracted by in an office setting. You're talking to people and you're interacting, and you kind of get your energy level up, right? So I think that for folks to really be successful at work from home are the ones that are most successful, that have figured out how to break up their day, how to schedule different things in a way that doesn't allow them to do a task that requires so much self-starter or self-initiative without being broken up with other types of tasks or activities. And I know some folks just don't have that opportunity, but I think identifying a way to structure your week with meetings and calls and activities that, kind of level out that, the ongoing activity level, or keep your activity level or interest level higher than just kind of, okay, I've got to put this thing off until Friday because I hate doing this one task. And Friday rolls around and every little distraction, that happens, a new news event that happens. Oh, and I'm going to go check that out. And, Outlook is open and all these things. I think, I guess what I'm trying to say is the folks that are doing best at work from home have already developed these skills because they've already had work from home experience, or have adopted them to make it a more productive way to deliver what they need to do, and then to keep their morale and satisfaction level high.
And I think it's good advice too, to kind of find ways to break up the day. Just find the techniques that are going to work for you to
Yeah.
keep you engaged and keep you. I mean, I find I'm sure a lot of people find themselves experimenting a lot with, well, what if I sit here, for part of the day? What if I schedule my time this way or that way? And if you kind of have the flexibility to do that, at least. I mean, it's a useful, it's hard to measure the results sometimes, but it's a useful exercise to figure out what is the optimal way for you to do work from home for you.
Yeah.
Well, let's, your tip of the week here kind of gets to, thinking about working from home, working in general. What is it?
Right. So I think it aligns with the discussion. Is, the tip of the week is really to take time for yourself and not feel guilty about it, right? Because, everybody's going through, whatever we're feeling as individuals as we go through this, extended quarantine and lockdown period. And it's really easy to get kind of down in the dumps about things, or to feel like we're working from home. I think side effect of working from home can be like, there is no end to the workday now, because I have a place to work and I can get ahead of stuff, and we tend to just, maybe work longer hours, or maybe take, little bits of time during the day, but we tend to be working later into the night, or maybe on the weekends, because it's so easy to do. And my tip of the week this week is, if you're not taking care of yourself first, then, you're really not able to take care of anyone else and meet these objectives and lead your teams and things like that. So, I remember, Rich, when I was quite the workaholic, I felt like, if I took time off, I always felt guilty about it. Like, I'm letting myself down, I'm letting my team down, I'm letting a client down, and things like that. But I made a complete change of perspective. Now I say, look, not only am I going to take time off when I feel like I want to take time off, or when I can move things around to do so, I'm going to not feel guilty about it. And in fact, I'm going to look for opportunities on my calendar to take a long weekend, or maybe to take a day off or a half a day off during the week, or knock off a little bit early and things like that, and not to feel guilty about it. So work will always be there, right? I was talking to someone earlier today, and they reminded me of a scene in the first Men in Black movie, where I guess Will Smith is gets his laser blaster out and starts shooting up at this alien ship. And, Tommy Lee Jones says something to him about like, dude, put your weapon away. We don't brandish our weapons in public. And Will Smith says, well, the such and such ship is hovering right over us. And Tommy Lee Jones says, well, there's always a such and such ship hovering over us all the time. So there's always work. And again, just kind of borrowing from, what we always hear when in the before times we were on planes, where they would tell us, in case there's a loss of cabin pressure, you put your mask on first before helping others. So I'm giving everyone an okay to take time off for yourself and not feel guilty about it. And in fact, look for opportunities to do that as part of your own personal life balance and mental health, because guess what? The work will be there when you get back, and you'll probably be a little bit more recharged and a little bit more, spring in your step as you're taking, stock of how much time makes sense for you to take off. And again, don't feel guilty about it, right? You work hard, take some time off, and I don't mean like, lighten your load and do a little bit work. I'm saying don't do any work, no business stuff. Spend time with your family, take care of yourself, do the things that you enjoy to try to recharge and try to maintain a semblance of work-life balance and some sanity.
And the key thing there, and it's very important, but also very difficult to do, is to not feel guilty about it, like you said. And if it helps, you know what, just think about it as an investment in your own productivity. Because you are actually you're going to do better work. You're going to be more productive if you are rested and energetic and ready to go. And you got to rest in order to do any of that. So yeah, by all means, if that's going to help you not feel guilty about actually taking the weekend off, then just understand that you will be better for your employees and your customers and everybody else if you have allowed yourself to recharge a little. Well, that leaves us time for just one more story this week. I've got one more statistic for you, Eric, from one of these studies, the Boomi study that I was quoting before. They found that 20% of the people they surveyed are making up for some of that water cooler chatter by talking to their pets, which might be further evidence, if any was needed, that we are all kind of going a little bit nuts on top of everything else from being home all the time. And speaking of nuts and being from home and craziness and all that these days, that's where our last story of the week comes to us from. It concerns a competition that recently took place in which a man from Pakistan set the new Guinness World Record for cracking walnuts with his head. And the number now, the high water mark to beat Eric is now 254 walnuts in 1 minute. His competitor came in second place at 239. 254 walnuts cracked with his forehead in a minute. And for all I know, this guy has been working on this craft. This has been his life's calling, and it's not something that he just started doing since the arrival of coronavirus. But boy, it sounds like the kind of thing that has suddenly become a good idea. Remember when we were talking about the guy who ran a marathon in his apartment? Yeah, getting yourself to 254 walnuts cracked with your forehead in a minute feels kind of similar to me.
The term that comes to mind immediately is like concussion protocol. I mean, what's happening here?
Right. Yes. Yeah. It seems like a better and better idea the more you do it, actually. Well, that is all the time we have this week on the 5-Minute Roundup. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. If you like the show, you'd like to maybe take a look at some episodes you missed, keep up on the new ones when they become available, best thing to do is go to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube and subscribe there. If you click that little bell icon, you'll get notified every time a new episode goes live. You want to read more about what's happening in the industry, industry news, get great business growth advice for your company, go to channelpronetwork.com every day, because we have got awesome new content for you there every day. To learn more about Eric and the work he does with his clients, please visit ericksimpson.com. That is ERICK Simpson.com. So once again, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be back again next week with another episode. Until then, folks, please enjoy the rest of your week. Eric and I are enjoying the rest of your week already.
Ready.